And they actually shackled me and made me come out to the phone. They would actually come to me and put me in shackles and drive me to the phone and talk to God while he reiterates, you must take a plea. It's better for you to take a plea. You know, since you're suffering like this, you're facing 1,000 years. I'll never be able to win this case. I've had cases like this before. Why let these other girls suffer? Why do these people suffer? Don't think about yourself. If you was my son, that I would do this for you, I would tell you to do this. He was working all the time with them, and I knew it. Because I knew they had no case. I knew there was no such thing in those videos. I knew the witness they talked about. I knew this was all a big plot. And he didn't want to fight this case because he was made a deal with them. Took over $1.5 million, as I'm told by my sister, in cash money from our tribe, and flaunted it and didn't even use it. Never intended on having a trial, but intended to put their bogus plea. But they knew I wasn't going to take a plea, so they had to torture me into taking a plea.
Now, in that torture, you were, what was the experience that you learned of the other co-defendants?
I was told that they were being treated the same way I'm treated. That means I was sleeping on a concrete floor with real poor bad food, wasn't getting my medication, watching rats and roach bugs and stuff, in the midst of very dangerous criminals, vulgarity, fights breaking out, people getting stabbed, suicides. I watched 4 or 5 people commit suicide. I was put up in the middle of a riot up in Atlanta, and some Italian guy from the mafia supposed to hung himself. There was a riot between the Florida boys and the Georgia boys. All this is going on, and some Caucasian guy comes back there and says, you don't talk to no other officers, you only talk to me. If you want anything, you say it to me. And they just locked you in the room. There's nothing in the room. You can't see outside. And it's a concrete bed and a concrete desk. Eventually, when all the black officers would leave, then he'd come back there and he'd handcuff you down and put a black bag on your head at nighttime. And then when the shifts, something must be going on out there, then he'd come and take it off your back and say, you better not say nothing to anybody about this, or so. And it went on like that. I don't know how many days I was up there. Anytime I would raise any question, I'd be bounced to a lower and lower condition, and more suffering and more torture. Abuse, pushing, shoving, cursing at you, calling your names. Who the heck you think you are? You ain't nothing. You have a whole bunch of vulgarities and all kinds of different things. You ain't nobody. Just like any other nigga to us, stuff like that. They use that, not to mention starvation, sleep degradation, where they kept waking me up, no allowed to the telephone calls, interfere with my mail, definitely a poor diet, and a whole bunch of things, and just outright vulgar and physical abuse.
Now, prior to this so-called agreement that was given to you,
yes.
What was told to you that about the other co-defendants during this whole torturous experience?
They told me that those people would go home free, totally free. There'd be nothing to be all over it, and you'd be the one that bears the burden. Because after all, you're the trophy that Putnam County wants. The state of Georgia wants you. That's it. They'll leave their people in those land alone, and everything would go away. You know, that's the promises that they were lying. They kept me up for 3 days, Garland's firm, and kept sending in their own psychiatrist, and they kept me up all the way to the day before. I didn't have, but I don't know how many hours exactly. 8.
1 more minute for your call.
That thing I had about 8 hours to make a decision on the plea. It wasn't like I had time to go back and forth and evaluate it. No, they kept me up all night with psychiatrist. Psychiatrist didn't say that next morning, we got to get the plea now, this morning. And my stepdaughter, Michelle York, was there to verify that. Malachi does not have a state plea. Let me repeat. Malachi does not have